They look amazing. They look exactly like they did in the films. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Josh. Welcome back to Black Line Toy Reviews. And today we're going to be looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie figures. And as you can see, we have Raph, Mikey, Leo, and Donatello just here. Now, I've been waiting for these figures ever since they were originally announced at San Diego Comic-Con, I believe, in 2018, perhaps. Anyway, they were an exclusive to start off with, and so they're really difficult to get in the UK, where I'm based. And then they became a Gamestop exclusive, again, really difficult to get hold of because in the UK you just cannot access Gamestop's website to order them. And then finally they were released for sale in the UK, and I just had to pre-order them, and they have just come out in the UK. So I am so excited to look at these guys. I loved the films when I was a child. I haven't watched them again since I was a child, and they are now just so nostalgic and classic. So let's have a look at the boxes. You can see they come with this awesome artwork on the side that actually goes together to make a full picture. These three seem to link up. You can see that Mikey's hand crosses over to Leo's box, Leo's hand and Scabbard's crossover onto Donatello's box. The only one that doesn't seem to link is Raph over here. He seems to be off the edge here, but doesn't actually overlap onto any of the others. But I think going together, I'm tempted to display these actually like this somewhere if I can find some space for them. But let's have a look around the rest of the box. I'm just going to take a few of these away and we'll just look at Raph's box. After all, he is the best turtle. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments below. I know everyone has their own opinion. But here we go. So I've taken all the figures out of the box. So as you can see, there's Raph's art on the side. There is the movie shot from the front of them coming out the sewers. And then they all have this artwork on the side of the figure. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And on the back, again, some more product shots and a picture of them all together as a group. Here are all four turtles out of the box and positioned. I've had a little play with them just to loosen the joints up. They do come quite stiff, but you can see Donatello and Leo here ready for action, brothers in arms, and then Mikey goofing around eating some pizza and Raph telling him off. This is how I remember these guys always. Raph being quite serious and telling Mikey off for mucking around, and these guys always being the brains and making the plans in the group. So we're going to have a look at each individual figure and what they look like, and then all of their articulation is more or less the same, so I will just look at Raphael for that section. So here you can see Donatello with his purple mask on, and he comes with his bow staff just here. He has some speckles. They all have some sort of detailing on in terms of the speckles. You can see some on his face. Get a close-up of the eye there. The paintwork on these figures is really, really great. The detail is amazing. There he is. They always all come with the knee pads. Little turtle toes. And the shell behind. There are these pieces of fabric here that I believe you can push his bow staff through. Haven't had a go at that yet. So there's Don. Leo with his swords or katanas. Not sure the technical name for them. He comes with the two scabbards on the back, really nicely detailed. What looks like brown wraps going up and down, and some ties. Detail on the shell, as with all of them, all sculpted in. He has a leather strap around his sort of chest here, and two smaller straps going up there. The handles on the swords look really nicely detailed. The brown sort of leather look around. We've got some seams on there, unfortunately, but and silver sort of slightly speckled blades. And again, the knee pads, toes, and again he has a slightly different detail in terms of the spots there. And then Mikey, again he's got slightly different face sculpt, so he's got the wide eyes, more of a smile. I don't suppose you can see right inside there, but his mouth is open and you can see right inside, you can see his teeth. And they all come with one of these pieces of pizza. So there's 4 altogether, obviously. Again, he has his own different detailing with the spots. I've pushed his nunchucks in the side there. They have a bendy wire, but we'll look at the accessories later. He has a leather strap that goes more around his waist. And again, detail on the shell there. And then, last but not least, Raph. So he's got his eyes slightly more closed, just like Leo and Donatello. Looks quite cross, as always. Mouth slightly open. He's got the leather strap around his waist with the I don't know what you call them, the straps here for his size to go in. I forgot the name of them then. Knee straps. Again, detail on the toes. Didn't show that underneath of the other guys, but they're pretty much flat with some text on there. There's a strap around his waist. Got some scars on his shell there. And there we go. He is actually sporting the hand from Leo, I think. We'll check that out in a minute. But he comes with a pointing finger. We'll have a look at all the accessories in a moment to talk about that. Again, he has slightly different detail with the spots. So, there we are. Now let's have a look at the accessories that each of the turtles come with. Some of them are the same across each turtle, some of them are individual for those turtles. So let's have a look at, first of all, Donatello. So they all come with their own weapon. So he comes with his bow staff, which you can see is really nicely detailed. Got the wrap around the middle for him to hold on to, and then it's just brown plastic. I don't think it's painted. These bits are painted, but I think this is just the colour of the plastic. And then he comes with his own hands. So we've got 2 pointing hands. Now my one gripe about these figures is they all come with the hinge that goes that way. Now they all hold weapons, so really you'd want the hinge to be going that way, but they all go this way. So not ideal. They're all soft and rubbery, which is really nice. It means they all hold their weapons really, really nicely. Now the shape of this one means you can hold the pizza in it if you want to as well, or obviously they're for pointing. And Leo comes with, we've had a little look at this already on the figure, but have a closer look. The leather look grip there, all painted nicely in brown, and then the silver handguard. Those can fit in his scabbards on the back. So you can see I've already put that one in there. This one is really tight on this side, so I'm not going to push it in because I'm just worried it's going to take the paint off. I've already put it in once and pulled it back out, and it felt like it was scratching, but you can see in here that this one goes in really nicely. And then Mikey comes with his nunchucks, and these, if I didn't know any better, I would say these were wood. They feel like wood, they look like wood, and they're got a little bit of paint on to show some texture. And then this bit here is a bendy wire, as you can see. And again, you saw in the opening shot that fits in down in the side of his leather straps. And he comes with 2 thumbs up. Again, you can see there's some painting on there just to give some extra detail. Now all of these hands are interchangeable. I've checked the colour and they all match the body of all of the figures. So what's really nice is you can just swap them around. They're not necessarily dedicated for each figure. So this is, these are the ones that came with Mikey. So again, these can hold the pizza in them really nicely. It's not particularly tight, but they go in. And then his size, again, it looks like they've been painted and sculpted to look like they are wrapped in leather. Nice brown there. No shading or anything, but then you've got the nice shiny silver blade. And then we have the pieces of pizza. And so you get 4 of these all together if you have all 4 figures. One comes with each. Again, nicely sculpted. You've got the texture on the bottom there. You've got the texture on the crust. And then the painted cheese and toppings. No anchovies. So going back to the Sai, Raph can hold them in 2 different ways. So you've got the standard way, which just goes into his hand like that. Fits in nicely. All of these hands hold the weapons really tight, so you just need to push it in. And then if you want to do the alternate grip, originally I assumed that the hands that came with him would be able to do that. However, there isn't really, because these 2 fingers here are joined together. They're not split. I suppose you probably could get a knife in there and split them, but wouldn't be ideal. There's no way of getting that in between his fingers. However, if you look at the back of his box, you will see that just here, I don't know how well you can see that, he is using the hand that comes with Donatello. Oh, Donatello, so he's got 1 finger down, 1 finger pointed. So you can kind of get that in there, like that. Ooh. Kind of get that in there. He doesn't hold it very well, particularly, and it is off to an angle, you can see. But it can be done. I don't think it looks particularly great. But if you want to do that, then that's totally up to you. Now the last thing I wanted to show that all of the figures come with is their own straps, head straps for their bandana, in their own colours obviously. Now they're nicely sculpted on this side, however not particularly nicely sculpted on the underside, so they kind of only really go one way around. So if we look at Raph here, these do spin, they're on a peg. If you wanted it that side, it doesn't look quite so great because you don't have the texture. But that side looks really nice, and then that just pops off. And then you can have the alternate bandana in there. And that just sort of sits down. So comparing them side to side, they're basically the same thing, just in reverse. Let's have a little look at some of the similarities and differences then. So if you have a look at Raph and Donatello here, they basically use the same body parts. So you can see if you look at the biceps, the arms are the same, and then round the back. The turtle shells are very similar. I'm not sure if they're identical. I think they are, other than the scratches on Raph. So I think that's the same basic sculpt, just these scratches have been added to Raphael's shell, I believe. And also if you have a look at the legs, they are also the same. However, if we look at Michelangelo, you can see, let's get his arm down, that the upper arms here are different, slightly different sculpt. Don't know about the lower arms, they look quite similar. And then you can see the shells are different on the back, slightly different mould. So this has definitely got deeper lines cut in there. It's slightly smaller shell on Mike, and you can see these individual sections here are different, they're much smaller on Mikey. However, Mikey is the same as Leo. If we get those 2 together, you can see their arms are the same and their shells are the same. So that is the similarities and differences. Let's have a little look at the articulation on these guys then. As I said before, all 4 turtles have the same basic articulation. However, there are some differences at the moment in terms of joint tolerances, and some have slightly stiffer joints than the others, but we'll talk about that as we go. So we're going to start at the top. Neck, that goes left and right. You get tons of expression out of that. It goes down, quite far, and then back up not very far, and then shoulders that come up to about there, just about horizontal. No swivel there. There is a swivel at the elbow there, at the top and at the bottom. Elbow joints are okay. They do get hindered by the pads there though. And then wrists that do not go left and right. They do swivel around and they do go forwards a tiny bit, not very much though, and backwards a little bit further. As I said before, it's a shame they don't go left and right because they hold weapons. I feel like that would be more helpful than these type of joints. He has a ball joint, I believe, down in the waist here, which allows him to rock left and right a little bit, as well as a little bit of swivel, not very much, so he twists a little bit, and allows him to go forwards a little bit and backwards a little bit. The sculpt, I really like the sculpt down in here. You can see all the wrinkles that seem to maintain the sculpt all the way down, so that's really nice. And then hips. Now on this figure, the one on the right hand side, or his left, goes out really far, nearly to horizontal, nearly all the way, but the other one doesn't seem to want to go so far. That seems to differ with all of these figures. Let's just have a quick look at Mikey. His both go right the way out. However, with Leo and Donatello, they don't seem to want to go out very far at all. It might just need a little bit more playing with. It might just be that that's how they are. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, he does kick forward to about there, if you want to go straight forward, so really poor actually, unfortunately. It will go further, but you can see he kicks right out to the side, which is a shame, but I guess that's just the nature of this. There's no drop down or anything to help, which is a shame. There is a swivel at the upper thigh or at the hip, which is nice. There is a swivel at the top part of the knee there, not at the bottom. The knee here is double jointed, so you can work around the pad, the knee pad here. However, it does get stuck in there, so just be careful that you don't damage it. And then moving down to the ankle, it goes really far forwards, actually really far back now that I've been playing with it. It didn't want to go back at all when I first got it. And then there is ankle swivel there. It does not rotate or anything, it doesn't go round, unfortunately, not really. You'd have to do that from the other parts of the leg. Finally, let's have a little look at how big these figures are. Just wanted to quickly show that they do all scale well together. They're all pretty much identical in size, as you'd expect, as they're basically the same sculpt. Then let's have a look at how big they are on the ruler. So 16 centimeters, pretty much exactly, which is about 6.5 inches just below. So let's have a look at how they compare to other figures and in other lines. First of all, we're going to start with a Figma Deku, so he towers over him, you can see, and Mafex Comic Book Spider-Man, which I have reviewed on my channel, so check that out. Next up is my two Mezco figures, the Wolverine on the left and the PX exclusive Batman Ascending Knight figure. I think that works out fairly well. Next up are some Rebeltech figures, Rebeltech Deadpool on the left, obviously, and Rebeltech Xenomorph on the right. And then finally a couple of Marvel Legends figures, Spider-Man on the left and Wolverine on the right. My final thoughts on these figures are that they are absolutely sensational. They look exactly like they did in the movies. The paint is brilliant and all individual for each figure. The sculpts are amazing, and again, lots of differences between the figures. I didn't even talk about the face sculpts. You can see that in this shot though, they are all different. The accessories are amazing. I couldn't ask for anything else really. Certainly not for the price of these figures, which again I haven't even mentioned is incredibly cheap. I think I paid about £85 for the whole lot, which is insane if you think about the cost of the other two figures that are in this shot. Would cost that all on their own. And the articulation is pretty decent, like I say, especially once they've warmed up a little bit and the joints have been loosened. So I definitely recommend picking these up if you can get hold of them. Like I say, they are now available in the UK, so what's stopping you? Thank you very much for watching the video. Please remember to leave a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up, that will be really helpful for me. And subscribe to my channel so you can see the future videos. I've done a review of the Mayfix Spider-Man you can see in this shot. There is an upcoming review of the Batman figure you can see in this shot, as well as others, so please make sure you check those out. And as always, remember, collect, play, and be proud.